What's up, everyone? Today we have a Dewalt 3000 psi 2.5 gallon per minute pressure washer here with a GX 160 on it. That by itself is kind of odd. I was expecting a 190 to be honest, but 160 it is. And the problem is I don't know anything about it. The person gave it to me. It's in a group of machines and we are working on getting them repaired and sold, and this is one of them. I did a quick look. There's oil and there's fuel. Fuel's a little old. In addition to that, the only thing else I've done is I've tried to remove the hose, but that's kind of just spinning freely. I can remove that, but I'm not going to worry too much about it right now. In addition, there was a whole lot of tree junk on top of it. If you are in an area where you have a tree and you think that's going to keep it dry in the wintertime, just don't. The tree will not do anything except just get it dirty. Don't do that. I don't know how many times I've seen that. Don't do that. Other than that, let's take a look at the filter. Like I said, there is fuel. It's kind of questionable fuel, but there's fuel. Oh, well, it actually looks pretty pleasant. Actually, sometimes this little foam stuff will start to disintegrate. And while I could still peel some of it off. It's still just foam. That's always going to happen. Oh wow, that was on there pretty good. Anyway, yeah, I don't know a whole lot about it. Maybe the reason why the person didn't want it anymore and gave it to people I'm working with. The pump went out? Don't know. So I say I have that taken off. I'm going to put it on choke. The fuel is already on actually. Turn the choke on. Push the throttle over. Make sure it runs, it moves, it does, okay. So that's full throttle. I think we're just gonna set it down and pull and see what happens, and we might be having a pump casualty, don't know yet. Let's see what we have. Choke. I can never remember. I'm gonna say that's choke. There's compression. I like to pull unfamiliar machines very slowly the first time, just to see if I'm gonna run into like a hydro lock, because I don't want to pull on it just with full force and then have it locked, and then I end up hurting myself. Yeah, that's choke. The little guide is really dirty. Put that to where it was. I have a feeling where I had it was choke, and then we will put something down the throat of the carburetor and try to get it to cough and kick over and whatnot. If you're unfamiliar, that's where you spray that. I'm assuming you're familiar with that since, well, you're taking the initiative just to even repair the machine. You know what? Is this even on? No, it's not. That would have helped a long time ago. That did not sound good at all. Now, I did check the little sight glass over here beforehand, and there is oil in there. Didn't necessarily check the oil. Something that could have made that noise too was this is open, and there's like a little, not a gear, but just like a special adapter that goes on, and drives the pump. So maybe there's junk in there or whatnot. I don't really know. Let's try that one more time and see if it makes that noise again. I don't know if you've heard it through the camera or not, but let's just say it's not something I'd like to hear. Well, it is not making that noise, so hopefully that was our problem. It just hadn't been moved for a while, and that noise was just it clearing itself out. Let's go ahead and start with the carburetor. So more likely than not, this is going to be a carburetor problem, but stick to the end of the video. I'll go over a couple other problems that are good common reasons why this type of machine will not start, so keep an eye out for the end. I've removed the two 10 millimeters on the side, and there's one on top. In addition to that, you have to turn everything so it can be slid out. Choke and whatnot, fuel. Now, we come into a predicament. We can do this the easy way, which currently you don't have to remove anything so far. It's better you removed what we've removed so far, just because you'll have more room, you're able to see more, and I'm doing it for filming purposes, but you don't need to. Now what you can do is what we're about to do. I have a little cup here while I explain and get it cleaned out. So if this is not all that bad, just has a little bit of a debris problem or old fuel problem, we can just clean the jet. The jet in a machine like this, if you have a small enough screwdriver, can be removed. It's not the easiest thing in the world, but it can be removed. It saves you from having to pull the carb off the machine and not have to potentially ruin the gasket. So if that is a problem for you or a concern of yours, this might be a good option for you. I'm tightening it because for whatever reason it wasn't wanting to loosen. There we go. And usually these aren't put on very tight. You can put it on tighter, breaks the little connection it has going on there, and then you can loosen it. So right now it's leaking and I can smell the fuel already. So we definitely have poor fuel. It's an unpopular opinion about what I'm about to tell you, so if you were one to get easily angered about fuel opinions, then please disregard what I'm about to say. But unless it's really bad old fuel, if it's like a year old and it's a pretty nasty color, it will still run, especially a larger machine like a tractor, 18, 12 horse engine, stuff like that. Smaller ones, you really start to get a lot pickier with fuel. If it's a year old, you could probably run it, except when you do that, you're definitely going to want to run it and burn all the fuel. And when you do that, it'd be a very good idea to change your spark plug. I've had situations where I didn't have any fuel. I've only had old fuel and I needed to repair something. The old fuel was burnable. It wasn't the best, but I did need to finish it, and I told the owner that too. They were fine. I told them finish this tank, or add, even better, add good fuel if you have just a small amount of bad fuel to it. It should even itself out. It's actually not that dirty. If this was dirty, we would definitely have to remove the carb. Right now I'm just putting the bowl gasket back into place because I don't want it to be dangling in my way. Bowl gasket is going to be difficult. That's the fuel. It's definitely over a year old. so I don't really think it'd be a good idea to do that. But there is only like a quarter of a tank. I'm going to mix in some good fuel and it should be fine. I'm doing that because getting rid of old fuel is becoming, for me at least, exceptionally difficult now, because how I used to remove it or get rid of it, it's no longer available. Thank you very much, trash disposal area. That might be a situation for actually removing it. When Honda makes an engine, they don't know what's going on, so they make a very generic engine, and yeah, no, we're gonna have to remove the carb. But a lot of times the base that this engine goes on is going to get you. This is a pretty shallow or short screwdriver, just not short enough. We're gonna have to remove it the good old-fashioned way. Let's move that out of our way and take the fuel clip off. The fuel shut-off is on the carb, as I'm sure you're aware. So we do need to do something to the fuel line and try to clamp it off right above where I put the fuel clamp. Pair of needle nose pliers, not firmly grasping the fuel line, but just kind of pressing up on it, kind of like a pry bar. Pulls the fuel line every single time. The problem with this clamp now is it's kind of in our way. Let me show you. Now, we do need to remove the throttle linkage, and we can. So, we managed to avoid a problem. Sometimes, if you have too large of a clamp, you have to clamp it down at a different area, and you can't actually do what we just did. And here is one of our problems. You see how we may not be able to take this off because of the frame. The frame is actually kind of prohibiting us from doing that. I'll just take that bolt seal off now so I don't damage it. I might be able to wiggle it off. I don't think so. Might have to remove the stud. Yeah, I'm gonna have to remove the stud. For this, you're gonna want to remove one of the studs. You don't need to remove both. I'm gonna remove this one. So I'm gonna have my 10mm wrench right here and my socket right here. I tighten and I hold it down. Oops. Now, theoretically, I should be able to twist the whole stud out. It is better to do it from the nut that you have in the rear of the machine. Oh wait, is it even doing that? Or am I twisting it on and off? No, I think I am. No, I am. Okay, good. Let's see, can I just do this from here now? Okay. I press the... There we go. Now, that can come off. Why is this not wanting to release? So, like I said, we couldn't really do this without removing the carb, which is unfortunate. But if you do have a situation, you could definitely do this, especially this type of cleaning. It really wasn't all that dirty. Hopefully this is okay. No. The jet in there is very delicate. The metal is not hard whatsoever. So if you just go using a screwdriver that is too small and you have a lot of play in the slot, I know. Calm the laughter now. Anyway, have a lot of play, then it's just going to strip out. You don't want that, because then strip it out, pretty much trash the carb. You can remove it. There are methods, but that is too big. They are not that easy, and the opportunity for damage to the other parts of the carb while removing it is pretty high. You don't really want to have to do that. I have a feeling this had already been worked on, because it is just, it kind of feels like it might already be stripped out. Let me do a little looking in there. Yeah, I think it has been, but I was able to somehow come out. So that's good. Now, we need the emulsion tube. I don't know why that's getting hung up, but to be honest, I don't really care, so I'm not going to worry about it. It's not going to impede our work here. In fact, it'll probably make it easier, because then I don't have to worry about losing it. There are holes all through this emulsion tube. I'm going to take some compressed air. You can just blow on it, wipe it down, whatever you want to do, and look through it. But either way, you need to make sure all those are cleaned out. In addition to that, make sure you clean this out. When I mean clean out, I mean this. This is what I do. I just don't usually show it because it's a long process. I take my air compressor, put it on this end, because that is inside the carburetor. Fuel gets drawn from this end. Take my air compressor, which has like a rubber tip, blow through there. Then I take that same spray that we use to start this engine and blow through there again. Then I take a wire from a wire brush and I go through there and I make sure it's clean. This has to have no plaque on it whatsoever. This isn't like your heart, where you can live with a little bit of plaque and too much kills you. No. This machine is pretty much no plaque whatsoever, and that's it. So I'm going to spend a little time and get that cleaned up. Okay, all that's done and taken care of. Let's go ahead and take this out. Now this does idle, so see that dirt mark? We're going to want to put the screw where that dirt mark meets the body of the carb. That's where the factory had it. I'm going to take some compressed air and blow around there. I don't want junk falling in there. Now, take a screwdriver and we gently pry up. That's not really working. There we go. These are great for stubborn pieces like this. Now in here, there's another jet. I'm going to do exactly the same thing, except the wire from a wire brush has to be a very small wire. Sometimes larger wires are even too big for this. There we go. Now if you have a compressor, flow through here as well, or you can just use the same carb spray and blow through all the little passageways. But I just use my compressor. They are fairly large, and I mean, should be fine. Now, let us go ahead and put the emulsion tube back on. If I can grab that. There it is. Emulsion tube goes on like so. The area with the big, over the hole on top, see the little hole? It's on top. Well, like that. And then we put the jet down and we screw it in until it is tight. Just as before, it just has to be tight. It doesn't have to be super tight. We go by the German standard here of Guten tight. And My only concern is that there is a little bit of junk. Let's move that so we don't get junk in there. Right here. But it came right off. Let's blow that out. Yeah, came right out. Looks just as good as new. In addition, you can remove this bowl. In fact, we very well might. You know what? We forgot the bowl seal. This bowl seal has seen better days, but we'll just take some of the crusties off of it. It's not ripped or anything. If it does present a problem, we can fix it later, but I don't think it will. It had fuel in it, and it wasn't leaking. This as well does not have to be super tight. Just tight. You're not going to win an award for tightness. We'll put that back in. There's flat slots carved in the side. The flat slot fits in the little groove on the side of the carburetor. It does not matter what direction it is as long as the flat area is there. It's just a circular hole. Come on now. I hate plastic screws. For reasons exactly like this. They are just super aggravating. There's like a plastic burr on there. I thought maybe this was not compressed all the way down, but no, it is. Now, if you really wanted to, you could grind this end off with like a Dremel and a cutoff tool. But you don't need to. I mean, if you really want to. If you were doing a full deep cleaning, yeah. And if it was dirty, well, I probably would say that's a good idea. But we don't need to. Now, let us go ahead and that's pretty much it. I think we'll go put the fuel on and everything, and then we'll be right back. Or excuse me, we'll put the stud back on. So the gasket unfortunately did rip a little bit on the end, but that's on the outside. That's fine. It's not going to affect the function of it. I don't have another one of those that's not in a kit, and I don't really want to break it up just for one. Especially if the one I have on there right now will work. And to remove that, yeah, to remove that, like so. And these were just the nuts that hold on the air filter cover, and that's it. Nothing special, nothing fancy, super easy. You don't even need an impact. In fact, some people will say that just because I use the impact, that's a dumb idea. To those people, I say, that did not work. Okay, now let's put fuel back on. I think that should be fuel off. And even if it doesn't matter. Like I said, you can't remove that, just a 10mm, it comes right out. But oh, I did forget to put the linkage on. Oh, there we go. This little spring is very important. You do not want to forget it. This fits in a little hole right next to the throttle linkage. Can't miss it unless you really need glasses. And we put this back on. This hose goes into the hole right here in the valve cover. That is a crank vent. Don't know what that is. It's all gas engines have them. Compression, whatnot, seeps through the rings, compresses under the cylinder, and that causes a problem. That is a vent to relieve that pressure, so you don't have to worry about it. Oh, you know what we forgot? We forgot the choke lever. It's important. And that is choke. I cleaned the sticker so I can read it now, but now that we are 100% certain, okay, this part's easy. I'm just going to tell a 10 millimeter nuts on and the 10 millimeter bolt, and then we'll give it a try. Here we go. It is on choke. This fuel is off, so I put a little bit of about 50-50 old gas, new gas. So what's going in there is a mixture. Not the best. Could is wasted fuel, but we'll see if it works. And technically you have what was in the line. That was 100% old. I didn't really drain it. Probably, if I thought about it a little better, I should have put the fuel in and then kind of taken a sample, my little cup. I didn't. I don't think it'll be a problem. Knock on wood. We are not leaking. Choke is on. Engine is set to on. Let's give it a pull. That's not too surprising. There's no air filter, and it was cold. This motor probably hasn't been ran in a few years. Giving it full throttle, not the best of ideas. It should do it more gradual, but it runs. So I think we are good to go with that. I'm going to test the pump. After looking at it further, I don't suspect there is a problem with the pump. However, I don't know that. If there is a problem, I'll be sure to bring you back. But majority of the work that I wanted to do is this pump, is this engine. It has a good filter. We've seen that. Spark plug obviously works. It wouldn't be a horrible idea to replace it though. And the fuel I'm going to actually use in my driveway, because there's really not a whole lot, and I'm going to pressure wash it, give it brand new fuel, kind of go through there, and then replace the spark plug. Like I said, old fuel doesn't burn 100%. It does get a little chalky at the end of it. It gets a little black. You don't really want that on your plug, and we're able to still use the old fuel. We're not being wasteful, and it's running good. So I'm going to leave you at that. Like I said, if there's anything else with the pump, I'll bring you back, maybe with the pump too. I do not suspect so, but as promised, I did say I would let you know on some other possibilities of what could be wrong. Other possibilities, assuming we put the starting fluid down and it ran, pretty much it's just going to be fuel. There's really not a whole lot of other possibilities. Now, if you put starting fluid down there and still nothing happens, then you're going to want to check spark. If you have no spark, check the coil. Or technically, you could probably just replace the plug and then try it. And then if it still doesn't have spark, probably a coil problem. Or you could have a ground problem, especially with these. The little switch over here reads oil pressure. Those do fail over time to time. How you would end up doing that is you would unplug pretty much everything and give it a try. If your spark returns, you either don't have enough oil or the sensor is bad. They're super simple to replace. You hope that it's not the internals, but majority of the time It's this piece right over here. And if you do have spark though, the next thing I would check is compression. Maybe you have a blown motor, more likely than not, especially if you've been sitting for a long time. You have valves either crusty or needing to be adjusted, anything like that. But other than that, I'm going to leave you at that. Follow me on Instagram at SmallEngine101. If you like what you see, keep watching. Don't forget to subscribe. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment. If you want personalized help, I do offer that in a membership, so feel free to join. And I will see you on the next video. You have a good rest of your day.